Hello and welcome back to Ayaron's world. As you join me here, I'm trying to get experience points together because I need a silk touch pick and I don't have one. Let me get rid of this group of, what is it, 460 something? With the 17 levels I've already got, this isn't going to get me to level 50. According to the wiki, I need 925 spiders in order to get me from level 0 to level 50. So I've discovered, the easiest way is to hit them with this instant damage splash potion. As you can see, it lags a little bit, and this is with only half the amount I normally need there. So I'll probably have to speed up this sequence. Well, no, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you what it is I plan to do today. So, we're going to take a look at the paths that I've made, and we're going to have to talk about the lighting. And then I want to start doing some experiments because I want to build myself a proper mob spawner. The one I've got has produced a little bit of what I need. You know, like when I was digging out the slime farm, it was, if I left myself AFK overnight, I was getting enough gunpowder that I was able to just blast out most of the area. But I want something a lot more effective and a lot better. And possibly something with an XP option. You know, something which might accumulate mobs slightly faster than the spider farm does. Simply because I want that silk touch pick. So, but I need to do some experiments in regards to that. Because ever since I first saw the fact that, if you build a spawner way up in the sky, so it's more than, say, 140 blocks off the ground, then you don't have to bother lighting up your caves, because the only place the mobs can spawn... Oops, sorry. The only place the mobs can spawn is in that mob spawner, because it's just empty air everywhere else. But there are some problems with it. One is that it won't activate unless the game has loaded the chunks where the mobs are, which means you have to actually go to the top of the spawner and I think possibly make a block update. I'm not sure about that. Possibly just being there is enough. And the other problem is that I was going to use my nether portals as a quick way to get up and down. But apparently if you make a nether portal up in the sky in the real world, it appears above the bedrock in the nether, which means it won't be able to connect to my other nether portals. But I want to experiment and see whether or not, if I make the portal in the nether first, and then put a portal in the real world in the same coordinates but way up in the sky, will they connect? This, as you can see, is taking quite a while. It's because we're still only running at about, well, 4 frames per second. You can see there on screen. Let me get rid of the coordinates for the moment. Might speed things up ever so slightly. Right. Now, one thing I find can speed things up is if I can make it down to the bottom and pick up all the string and stuff. But you are essentially moving blind because all the experience points. There we go. There we go. That's reduced the amount of entities floating around in the world. I think this will also run better with the new version because they're making it so large groups of blocks on the ground will actually stack. So rather than having 64 bits of string floating separately, you'll have like one bit of string that counts as 64. So the frame rates are improving, this is speeding up. Let me just clear these last few spiders. Right, there we go. Although my frame rates are still rather low. I've checked, and I'm in the right resolution this time. Oh well. Right. I'm just checking to see, because sometimes some experience orbs float around at random around the back and stuff like that. So there's always a bit of string here. I'm not wanting for string. and I'm not wanting for wool. Which is good, because I'm thinking I'm going to make my mob spawner primarily out of white wool, because I've got an unlimited supply of that. I might want to think about some form of use the coloured wool for some decoration or something on it. But we'll think about that once we've got it. So, my frame rates are still running a bit low. I'm definitely in the right resolution this time. May have to excuse me while I try and sort this out. Okay, I can't work it out. I think it's just, I don't know, Minecraft just always seems to have a problem. The other day I was test recording for a new game I want to do, you know, and it's like a modern high graphics game and so on, and I didn't even shut down all the other stuff on my machine, which I normally do. Wondering whether that's causing lag, which might... Well, I think it'll be watchable, so I apologise if the footage is slightly choppier than usual. These things just seem so random and esoteric. Alright, so let me put away this stuff I've got, and then I'll grab the stuff I need. I'm wondering, there's been an update recently to MCPatcher, which has added some more graphical enhancements to the game. I'm wondering if there's one of those which is like slightly a processor intensive or something, and maybe that's what's doing it. But it really doesn't slow down to this extent until I start recording, so maybe it's something up with the hard drive and with the fraps recording. I'll try and stop worrying about it. So, lamps. Lamps. Right, I've been experimenting with some different lighting schemes. Okay, here are my paths, by the way. Yes, I think I ran over them previously and I never even mentioned them. So, they've all got half slabs on them, so I can just dash up pretty quick. It's also only half a block lower. These are all half slabs. They're only half a block lower than the surrounding grass. So when I'm dashing, I can cut corners without worrying about it slowing me down and so on. So that's all to the good. But I need a lighting scheme for them. So I quite like the look of the glowstone lamps on the posts. And as an alternative, the post could be... let's put that in the centre somewhere so it's not connecting. As an alternative, the post could be made of nether brick, which looks pretty good actually. The problem with it is, though, is you have to get power to the actual lamp. And the only solution I could come up with was, well, to put a lever on top. I mean, I could put a redstone torch on top, I suppose. I'm not sure how that would look, though. But either way, it looks a little strange. The other alternative is I could, of course, bury the lamps in the ground, but that I don't think looks that good. So the other thing is to use pumpkins, either on the surface, or they could be right up against the path like this and buried underneath a leaf block, or they could be set back slightly, which from the path hides them even more. You know, especially if I make sure that the shade of leaf I use matches the grass paths as best as possible. Okay, I've worked out the frame rate issue. I've learnt something new. What it turns out is, okay, let me just explain something. Whenever I record, I set my desktop resolution to 720p. That's mainly because that's what I'm going to upload in the end, so there's no point me playing with a higher resolution. So what I normally do is I set my desktop to 720p, then I launch Minecraft, then I full screen. I hit F11. What I did in this case, though, is I launched Minecraft first. While it was still windowed mode, I changed my desktop resolution to 720p. But it turns out that if you do it that way round, when you hit F11, Minecraft will full screen at whatever the resolution of the desktop was when it launched. So, whenever I was going full screen, it was ending up as 1080p rather than 720p, and that is what was messing up my frame rates. So I have to really remember to set my desktop to 720p before I launch Minecraft. You think after all this time I'd have all this sorted out, wouldn't you? Oh well. Right, so the game world is loading around me now, which is making it a little... see? Right, so, lighting. Tell me what people think. You know, or if they've got any other solutions, if they could either describe them or maybe add a short video response showing various other lighting schemes I could do. The paths themselves are half slabs, except for these bits here. So mobs won't spawn on the paths themselves. So it's okay for the lighting to be set back a bit from the path, because the primary purpose of the lighting is to light up the grass around it and around the paths. And whatever, you know, and even if I do go with something like a lamppost here by the paths, I might set these pumpkins buried under leaves back into the grass and get rid of all the torches, because I quite like the look of it if it was just like that, just off into the distance. The other possibility I had was just this. Well, you know, was this I just tried, which was just going for some form of artificial tree. I suppose there's no reason why I couldn't actually put a proper tree trunk there, or just grow a tree and pop a pumpkin into the centre of it. You know, so long as, you know, as I said, so by the paths it doesn't really matter. You want some light reaching the ground. You want to be able to light up the grass up to the path and a reasonable distance out from it. So tell me what people think. That I think looks good, and I think would look brilliant with that. I like the contrast of the black to that, but I don't like having to have this lever on top to power it, and I don't think a redstone torch would be that much better either. And anything else I do would be visible. I mean, I suppose it might be possible. Let me just have a look at this. Oops. So, not out of cobblestone, obviously. But what if there was some material which I could do that around the top, which would match well with the rest of it? Possibly just like that. Possibly upside down stairs. You can sort of see that, can't you? If there was upside down stairs. I've got like a wooden stair here. Let's pillar up again. Get rid of you. If there were upside down stairs like that and then a half slab at the corners. Oh, I want it to be an upside down half slab, so I need something to put it against, like so, and on this side. Get rid of that, and that. So if you try and imagine that in maybe different materials and all matching materials, then I don't know, it's still slightly bulky, the way it sort of pokes out. But if it was made of something light enough, might be something again to wait for the half slabs on the wood, except there's no mention of getting stairs in the different colours yet. It might be best without the half slabs in the corners. So it is just like, if imagine those were upside down stairs. That might be pretty good. Well, that's my suggestion. I would like, ideas from you guys, because I don't know, it sort of works, but sort of doesn't. Okay, let's get to the testing we need to do. Let me dump stuff I don't need. Didn't know where my obsidian blocks were. So I'm going to need those. I'm going to need flint and tinder if I've got one. Or flint and steel, sorry. There we go, flint and steel. I'm going to need something to pillar up with that I can then drop down pretty quick. How's my spade doing? It should be okay. I think I'll grab wool for this. Too much stuff in my inventory. Alright, let's really clear this out. Oh yeah, I mentioned a new update to the texture pack. One of the things it's done is instituted something called what is it? Anyway, it means that the textures from one block to another can merge together. So as you can see, the smooth stone looks a lot smoother. And it's not completely uniform either. That's something else I've noticed on this texture pack. Alright, I need this wool. I'll show you on the grass when we get outside. I'm just not sure how much wool I'm going to need. That's probably more than I need, but... And of course it's night time. So you can see here on the grass, there's like details that aren't in every single block. I quite like it. So that is basically Misa's texture pack now supports it, and the MCPatcher, which is the program you need to run in order to allow HD texture packs, sort of implements all this stuff. So once again, I'm perfectly happy to add visual mods to my game. Okay, so what was I doing? What I need is the coordinates of where I want my mob tower, my mob spawner, in the real world. And then I will make a portal in the nether. So I've worked out a place that's reasonably away from the mountains. Because this thing's going to be a massive thing going up into the sky, I didn't want it to be too close to my base, because it might just dominate things a bit too much. So I decided that there's a little spur out here. A little, I think it's called an oxbow. Whereas a bit where the river sort of just curves around this thing here. And here seemed a good place for it. So let me clear a few of these trees out of the way. Okay, that'll do for a start. Now, whatever it is I built up there is going to have a diameter of 19. So I'm trying to work out whether or not I want my portal to be in the center of the thing or off to one side. I think in the center. So, even though it's entirely unnecessary considering how high up this thing's going to be, I want it sort of set back 19 from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is going to be the center. So you.